First on WTOC Plus, all month long, we've been telling you about how Georgia residents across the state are being impacted by the ongoing government shutdown. And we wanted to take some time to shine a spotlight on one of the resources aimed at residents, helping them navigate hardship. It's called the 211 Helpline. Now, I sat down with Kimberly Waller, the president and CEO of United Way of the Coastal Empire, to talk about how this service connects residents to the help that they need. Here's an extended look at our conversation. Well, Kimberly, thanks for making time to speak with us today about resources available to residents here locally. Before we talk about resources, just first off, for folks who don't know, tell me a little bit about United Way of the Coastal Empire and the work that y'all do.
Absolutely. United Way of the Coastal Empire, our mission here is to improve lives by mobilizing the caring power of our community. And that looks like so many different things. It means that we are funding and supporting an infrastructure of nonprofits. Over 50 nonprofits are part of our community fund granting process. And then we have direct services. Those are things like our 211 information and referral service. We do literacy programs. We have our county service centers. We have a 5-county region. So we're in Bryant, Chatham, Effingham, Liberty, and Long counties. So you can receive services and support in any of our surrounding counties. And then we also do a ton of volunteer work. That's really mobilizing the caring power of our community. Thousands of volunteers every year who give their time to really important causes.
And talking about the caring power of our communities, some of our communities are seeing turbulence right now with some federal workers not being paid. Of course, there's a looming threat of SNAP being shut down here in a couple of days. Maybe for folks who've never had to reach out and ask for help before, what are some of the resources out there available for our residents here locally?
Yeah, I think what's one of the really powerful ways that 211 supports our community is it's designed to be kind of that one-stop shop. So it is really hard to know, especially when you're in a crisis moment or you're in a situation like we are coming up on with November 1st and people who have SNAP benefits that will no longer be able to access those. Knowing where to go can be very overwhelming. So if you call 211 or you email us at 211@uwce.org, there's somebody here, a caseworker here, a specialist here who is specifically trained to be able to connect you to those available resources, whether it's something that at United Way we can support with, or we connect you to the resources across the community and across the region. You can also go on our website and you can search for those resources. We have partnerships with any nonprofit across the community, including food banks and food pantries and others that are doing really important work, where you can go into our website, you can put your zip code, you can see what's in the surrounding areas, what you may be eligible for. There's a map that pops up that shows you where it is and what types of services are available. So we really want to make it as easy as possible for our community members, because when you're struggling and you're scared, it's hard to just know where to turn, and you can always turn to the United Way.
And what are some of the common calls that 211 receives when it comes to different types of services?
Yeah, we have, we track, a lot of our data shows us what trends exist across our community, because we want to make sure that when people are giving to the United Way that we're really giving, targeting those resources to where the needs are and where the needs are most being seen across our community. Housing, we know that housing affordability is a challenge for many of our communities, so we do a lot of support with community members in accessing rental assistance and getting connected to some of our partners. When we give assistance, we connect you to our partners to focus on what we call upward mobility. We don't want people just stuck. We want them to have access to services that can help them reach their goals, whether that be budgeting or maybe getting a different certification so that they can get plugged into the workforce in a different way. We also do a lot of those kind of immediate assistance needs, so food support, support with your utility payments. During the storms last year, during the disasters, Hurricane Helene and Tropical Storm Debbie, we did short-term recovery where we were replacing people's food because the electricity may have been out for a long time in their home, and so making sure that people had access to those basic needs. We do transportation support, so we have a really it's a pretty fun event, I will say, but it's called Women Who Rule, and we host that in March. And the purpose of that is specifically fundraising for women and caregivers who have transportation barriers. That's all distributed through our 211. So when you call 211, You may be eligible for some things that United Way has to offer, but at the end of the day, you're going to walk away with a resource and making sure that you have a next step.
Have you been hearing from any of your partners about what they're seeing or if they're preparing for an influx of folks?
We have. One of the things that at United Way we really prioritize is making sure that we're coordinating and we're collaborating with all of our nonprofit partners. So tomorrow, Friday, October 31st, we're actually hosting a meeting, a virtual meeting with any nonprofits across the community where everybody received a survey in advance to be able to share what resources they have, to be able to share what needs they're seeing across the community. We've had dozens of responses already, so we're compiling all of that so that we can be as clear and concise with what we're sharing with the community as possible and what's available, and really understanding what those needs are. And then our call with all of our nonprofit partners will really spend time brainstorming how we can do this together, because we're much more impactful and much more efficient and powerful when we do this work together. Everybody is working as hard as they possibly can to meet these needs, because we know that families are in dire situations right now, and being able to do that together is going to be much, much more powerful than doing it alone.
And I know United Way is kind of in the midst of a campaign right now that ultimately supports the 211 Helpline. Yes. And a lot of these partners. Tell me a little bit about that campaign, and if someone would like to get involved and help, how they can do so.
Absolutely. We always, every year we have an annual campaign that raises funds for what we call our community fund. Our community fund is what allows us to do our mission critical work. It's those things that we talked about. It's the funding nonprofits, it's the coordination and collaboration, our 211 information and referral service, our volunteer work. There's just so much that the community fund powers across our region. And so we kicked off our campaign this year on September 4th. With close to 700 community members there, just excited about the power of giving. And we're going to continue to be in our campaign for quite some time. We're going really strong, but we invite anybody and everybody to get involved, whether it's giving of your time or your resources. You can go to our website. There's a fun little tab at the top that says Give Today, and there's several different ways that you can give of your resources. And we also have a tab at the top that's volunteering. If you are interested in volunteering your time, go there. We are connected to several nonprofits across the community where you can proactively get involved and volunteer. And then we'll also have volunteer days, like we do a Read United Day in January, where if you're interested in spending just 30 minutes of your day reading a book to a classroom across the region, really just sharing the love of reading with students. It's just, all of this is part of our campaign and part of the work that we do, so we invite you to join however it works for you and your family.
I think that's really all the questions I had for you. Was there anything else you'd like to touch on?
This year we're doing our work a little bit differently. In years past we had a big goal that we announced. It was our total impact. It included things like our grants that we received. It included things like different partnerships that we had and collaborations that we had. This year we're laser focused on our community fund, and we announced a $5.2 million goal for our community fund, and we know when the community comes together we can make that happen. And what that ultimately means is that you're changing lives across the community.